and welcome to UC Today. My name is Kieran Devlin, and in today's session we will be discussing how channel partners can future-proof their customer experiences, with LDI explaining how it thrives with Intermedia's contact centre and AI solutions. I am delighted to be joined by Robert Handel, Senior Vice President of Cloud Strategy at LDI. Thanks for joining us, Robert.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Before we explore exactly how channel partners can future-proof their CX, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, Robert, and your LDI journey?
Sure. So as I mentioned, Robert Handel, I'm the Senior Vice President of Cloud Strategy here at LDI. Been at the organization since November of 2020 with the sole purpose to expand our portfolio into the unified communication sector of technology. My background, I started in 1994. In the very beginnings of telecommunications, I sold on-premises phone systems, watched the evolution of the business move from analog to digital, digital to IP, and then on-premises VoIP into cloud-based unified communication services. And my primary role at LDI is really to create the strategy, the go-to-market, the operational overview of how we're going to deliver next generation solutions to our 4,500 user client base across the United States.
Terrific. Well, I think it positions you very nicely for today's topic. And kicking us off, from your perspective, what makes Intermedia Contact Center and AI stand out for partners like LDI, and has it helped you differentiate from competitors?
So I'll start with the model, like the business model itself. We were looking at the partners that we want to align ourselves with. We were getting into the market. Intermedia is very channel partner focused. It gives us the ability to really, bring the solution to market with a lot of our, kind of mindset, our deliverable, our overall customer service experience as part of it. So we like the business model. And then from a technology perspective, as we were reviewing, again, the potential partners that were available to us, we were certainly pleased with the executive team and the support personnel that were in place to support our initiatives as we entered into the market. That's ongoing. How we interface with Intermedia as an organization is easy. They work very closely with us and in our interactions with our customers and supporting us as we support our customers. And then from an overarching technology perspective, really felt that they had a good direction in terms of how they wanted to address the market, being not necessarily a traditional on-premises phone system manufacturer that moved into the cloud. They started in the hosted exchange business. They understood Microsoft side. They were already, back in the 90s at ASP, being the cloud provider, understood the importance of survivability, uptime, reliability and scalability. And then the product as a whole, delivers, a very tight-knit solution from a unified communications perspective and a contact center perspective, to, again, the markets that we're trying to address with their solutions.
Terrific. And I love the outcomes aspect of this and the relationship between Intermedia and LDI as a partner and then the customers. Can you share how LDI is helping customers adopt AI in their contact centers? And what does AI actually tangibly look like in action for these end users?
Yeah, so I mean, we're very focused. Again, my role in the organization is kind of forward thinking as the cloud strategist. So my plans and our plans as relates to AI overall across our portfolio of products is very much front and center. So Intermedia's story and AI and contact center, very much aligns with our, kind of 12, 36, 60-month plans in terms of being more of a AI consultant, so to speak, and going to market with kind of that strategy. So as it relates to contact center and AI, the initial offerings were really, post-call, like what happens, post-call, doing recordings, understanding, keywords, sentiment analysis, and gathering that data from after something has occurred perspective. So that's great because you can use that as an evaluation, a training tool, really understanding the customer experience, that has occurred. the ongoing training that it affords to correct, post call is great. But I think going forward, where the real significant value is in real time, right? And really being able to present agents. So we're talking about agentic AI, and the ability to, provide agents with real-time data, allow them to adjust on the fly as things are going on with a particular customer or potential customer, which is important as well. So I think that will change our direction and what we can offer our clients, and the tangible results will absolutely be, everyone talks about efficiency, everyone talks about customer experience. Those are absolutes that will occur. But I also think the experience for the agents will improve, because as they're working, they're going to be presented with information that allows them to, be more proactive versus reactive, give their customers the answers, in real time versus post, and just make the overall experience that the customers have and the agents have, more productive, more efficient. First call resolution is always the goal. And I think, the introduction of, agentic AI and post-call AI from a training, and historical view is important. But I think the overall experience is going to improve. And then, as you start to think about, AI is not new, right? It's, there's a lot of marketing that goes into AI, and what is AI versus machine learning? That's a whole other topic that I'm sure we could do another session on. But I think it's how do you improve the overall workflow, of an organization on repeatable tasks, right? And how do you, improve the tool sets of employees? And again, how do you make sure that customer gets what they want as quickly as possible, in the most efficient way that gives them the best outcome? And I think we're always talking about outcomes. And then what can we possibly save from a dollars and cents perspective by not necessarily cutting employees, but really making that experience more efficient, so I can, maybe maximize the relationship with potential customer, and keep them from a longer period of time because they're getting the support that they want once they bought a particular product or service from us. So it's kind of our view on it. And I think that's really how Intermedia is helping us today, both in the contact center tools that they have, the AI that's been introduced, and kind of the AI that they're going to be introducing in the very near future.
I think that's a really salient point what you make, Robert, about AI as this enabler or empowering tool for agents. The agent experience is often marginalized in these conversations, so thank you for highlighting that. What advice would you give partners who are new to selling or deploying contact center solutions with AI, and what are the common pitfalls and how can they avoid them?
So my first recommendations is to understand it's not just a product sale. It is very consultative. I think you really have to dig deep into the customer, their environment, what they're trying to achieve. Get that baseline, documented, understand again what the tangible results and measurable results that they're looking for are, as a starting point, because you can throw product at any perceived problem, but in often cases, unless you dig deep into what they're trying to solve within their own organization, you might not get the outcomes that were anticipated, which, kind of leads to, an unhappy customer. I also think that, understanding the environment is critical, now more so than ever. Where does the data that they're trying to pull from reside? Again, that's in years past, there was a lot of silo data. Now we're trying to cross over where we have access to that data. So, understanding where it resides, how it flows, and then most importantly, how to make sure it's secure. I think a lot of people overlook the security aspect or the cybersecurity aspect of accessing this data. A lot of people work in hybrid environments today. Contact center agents necessarily aren't sitting in an office. They're sitting, in their home offices. So now, making sure that data is secure from the point at which they are, from the point at which they're accessing that data by implementing an AI, tool now creates a whole bunch of, new, cybersecurity breach points that I think as an organization and as a developer of the solution, partners need to have an understanding of. So, understanding the outcome, understanding the business, understanding the current technology, and then making sure it's secure end to end, I think are critical to be successful, in this business.
No, absolutely. And I think my next question, there's going to be some overlap with our discussion so far, but I think it's an opportunity for a very comprehensive exploration. From your experience, what tangible business outcomes have your customers achieved with Intermedia Contact Center and AI, whether that's customer experience, efficiency, or revenue growth?
I think it hits on all three. So, we took on a client a couple of years back. They were coming through an on-premises system. They wanted to migrate to the cloud. And the first kind of go round was just to get basic contact center in their environment to really understand their call flow. What wound up happening through that experience was we turned on call recording with AI transcription, because really what they were looking to achieve is to understand what were happening with those interactions with their clients. And what wound up happening is we realized through looking at the data that the call flow was not optimized. And as opposed to having just 6 people kind of fielding calls and then dispersing those out to really the people that are intended to get the calls, we actually moved the call flow to the 60 people that needed to answer those calls, converted into contact center agents, started kind of recording all of their calls and really mining the transcriptions and using AI tools to understand the interactions that they were having with their clients so that they could be more efficient, improve the customer experience. And the business that they're in is in the plumbing supply business. So they are a volume business. So the whole goal is to make sure that in those interactions, they can absolutely make sure that what was happening from a point of sale with the initial call was being achieved, but also looking at where potential upsell and cross-sell opportunities existed within those interactions to then train their staff to make sure that certain areas were being addressed while they were interacting with those customers to make sure that they didn't miss out on revenue. And that's what they're seeing. They're seeing, better customer experience. Their agents are actually feeling that they're engaged in a better way, based on the data that they're mining post-call. And then, certainly revenue growth is what they've highlighted in terms of where they are with the business. And I think going forward, again, the introduction of, agentic AI in real time will improve that and take their experience to the next level. So really looking forward to bringing those tools to them, once they are, kind of mainstream.
Thanks, Robert. I think that was a very nice summation of how all these various ambitions or these KPIs that customers will have are married to one another. And I think just the way that the AI and the Intermedia's contact center solution just really turbocharges all three because they all complement one another.
Absolutely.
One final question before I let you go. Looking ahead, where do you see the biggest opportunities for partners around AI in the contact center space, and how should they position themselves to capture that growth?
I think, I kind of mentioned it, earlier. This is not a product sale, even though at the end of the day, there is a product that needs to be sold. I think it's very much, a consultative approach that needs to be outlined, needs to be defined. And the sales cycle will be very different than what some of the potential sales cycles are today. So I think for partners, as they explore the opportunity to engage with Intermedia, the contact center, and engage their clients with AI potential, it really is to structure a defined business process that they are going to follow, engage their prospects or existing clients with, and make sure that they work through those steps, very linear, because I think that's the approach that's necessary. That's certainly the approach that we have taken, and we've had success in that area. So I think that's what they really needs to be taken a look at. And again, I'm a huge proponent of cybersecurity. Understanding how that relates to SaaS, the SaaS security model, how that relates to just on-premises security model. So I think you have to be focusing on and talking to internal IT teams or outsourced MSPs or MSSPs that clients have, and really making sure that you're aligned with what they're doing from a cyber perspective. Does the introduction of these technologies introduce new breach points that need to be explored and understood? And again, just understanding the overall methodology in which data is going to be transacted with. and again, the goal in which that data is being transacted for, right? What's the outcome that everybody is looking for? So kind of my, kind of high level view that I think partners need to take. And, there might be some resources that you don't necessarily have, in the organization today that you should be looking for to make sure that you have available to you. And I think that's the direction that, we're taking. And I think that would be the recommendation that I would offer to other partners that are considering this.
No, absolutely. I think that's a very compelling and thoughtful approach to take with that future direction. Unfortunately, that is all we've got time for today, but it's been a terrific session, an invaluable session. So thank you, Robert, for being here.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share on social media, and we'll see you next time. I've been Kieran Devlin, UC Today. Thanks for watching.